Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog, the subject of which is Iran. As I'm sure everybody has noticed, Iran has been a little bit rambunctious lately. Recently they attacked, well, they didn't do it, they had their proxies do it for them, but we all know who was behind it. Iran attacked 2 oil tankers, and then just late last week they shot down one of our drones, a U.S. drone. For which Donald Trump was about to retaliate until his generals told him that 150 people would possibly die. Trump felt that would be going a little bit overboard, considering that the drone that was shot down was unmanned. I think he's right. What I want to talk about is why Iran is acting out so much lately. There are some things we can learn from Iran's latest behavior. The obvious one is that the sanctions that Trump put back on are working, which tells us, or tells me, that we were wrong to make this agreement with Iran, the JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, with Iran in the first place. Because the sanctions that are working now, that they've been restored, were working then. That's why Iran wanted to talk to us. Remember, they wanted to talk to us. Well, that, and then you had Obama making these overtures because, well, I honestly don't know why. I guess he's got this love for third world countries. I don't know. Someone else will have to explain it. This will be another video for another day. Iran would be hurting a lot more now if in the intervening time between when the negotiations started for the JCPOA and now the sanctions had stayed in place. They would be hurting so much that they would be so eager to speak to us that we would have had a real agreement with real teeth in it. But as they say, no sense crying over spilt milk. Thank goodness we have a president who restored the sanctions. The other lesson that we learn from this restoration of the sanctions is from Iran's recent threat to increase their uranium enrichment beyond the limits that were in this agreement. Iran, all this time that this agreement was in place with the IAEA unable to do real inspections, that Iran maintained the capability to resume enriching any time. That tells me, at least, that had this agreement stayed in place, Iran, well, if we let them get away with what they're trying to get away with now, in other words, getting concessions from us and from our European friends to remove the sanctions, that would tell them that they could blackmail us anytime they want to. So why would they give up enriching ever, especially when we have an agreement, or we had an agreement, that was set to expire in a few years, and then Iran would have been free to enrich to its heart's content. But now we're in a whole new world. The sanctions are working. We need to keep them on. But we also have to note that Iran is obviously desperate to acquire nuclear weapons. Now, one reason for this is the obvious one, that if they have nuclear capability, nuclear weapons, then they have a nuclear umbrella, which, number one, pretty much prevents anybody from attacking them, because the Iranians have a well-deserved reputation for being crazy. So if you back them into a corner and they have nuclear weapons, if somebody wants to attack them, they probably would respond with nuclear weapons. Now, there are those who say that Iran, despite their behavior, actually is rational and would never actually use a nuclear weapon, because to do so would be suicide. And the Iranians, no matter how crazy, I'm talking about the Ayatollahs, by the way, I'm not talking about the Iranian man on the street, who actually, many of them, perhaps most of them, like the United States, but I'm talking about the leadership at the top, that they would never commit suicide. But I would say, what do suicide bombers do by definition? They commit suicide because they think they're going to paradise, or for whatever reason, they have no problem setting off a bomb and dying in the blast. So you have to ask yourself, if one of these suicide bombers had an atomic bomb, why would they not use it? We already know that they would strap an explosive vest to their bodies and blow themselves up. Oh, and then we have 9/11, where a band of Islamists crashed 2 planes into the World Trade Center and a third one into the Pentagon, in which they were killed. So you have to ask yourself, what if these people had an atomic bomb? Why would they not use it? Of course they would use it. So then you have to ask, because it follows on that logic, the Ayatollahs are just as suicidal, perhaps. They have the same mindset. So if they had an atomic bomb, why would they hesitate to use it if they were under attack? Maybe they would not use it if it would thwart some goal that they had, but if it was a matter of them being attacked and defeated and killed and wiped out, then why would they not use it? They would figure they have nothing to lose, so they might as well take as many people as they can with them. That's the way they think. And this willingness to sacrifice themselves, to commit suicide in order to take a lot of people with them, I just said that they would do that under the condition that they felt that they were about to be wiped out, or in other words, to become extinct. Well, that is the possibility that they're facing. It's a slow motion suicide, but that is what they're facing. I'm especially indebted to a writer and analyst named David Goldman, who is a very influential person. He's worked for major banks, managed their bond departments. He's done analysis for the Russians, I think, and for the Chinese. He has contacts with various politicians, government officials. In short, he is someone who knows what he's talking about when he analyzes any geopolitical situation. He's done some work on Iran, and the conclusion, which he buttresses with the facts, is that Iran is in a demographic spiral. Iran, many people don't know, has a very low fertility rate. It's about 1.7 births per woman. That's below the 2.1 births per woman required just to keep a population steady. That's one problem they have. The other problem they have is that the population that they do have, because of this low fertility rate, that population is aging. 7% of the Iranian population is over the age of 60. That's today. But if you take this fertility rate, project it forward to mid-century, then you have 40% of the Iranian population over 60. So the immediate problem the mid-century problem that this will create is that with so few young people, Iran will not have enough young men to field a conventional army. They will not be a danger to anybody as far as conventional forces goes. And in fact, as we all know, they use proxies to do their dirty work these days. That's probably one reason. Another reason, obviously, is not to provoke the United States, but the other reason is they're just running out of having enough young men to field an army. Meanwhile, Israel has a fertility rate of, I think, 3.1%, way above the replacement rate. So you can see the problem that the Iranians have. Once the over 60 portion of the Iranian population reaches a certain point, a certain critical mass, no pun intended, I'm talking about nuclear weapons, so critical mass, forgive the pun. Once that point is reached, they will no longer be a threat, and their dreams of dominating the Middle East will be over. And add to that the fact that the per capita income of Iran is about $5,000, just short of $6,000 a year. When you have an aged population that large, 40%, and a per capita income of about $5,000 to $6,000, they're in a world of hurt unless they have nuclear weapons. That's the only thing that protects them. So they have an extra reason beyond some other renegade country that is seeking nuclear weapons. They really face an existential threat. And if they have a nuclear weapon, as I said before, there's that opportunity for nuclear blackmail where they can blackmail the rest of the world into supporting them and keeping them in power and taking care of their aging population. In other words, Iran's greatest enemy is not the United States of America. It is not Donald Trump. It is not Israel. It is not Benjamin Netanyahu. Iran's greatest enemy is time. And this is all the time I have today. I enjoyed the time that we all spent together. I look forward to the next time we're all together, and until then, thumbs up if you liked the video. Share it with anybody who you think could benefit from the video. If you have any comments, put them in the comments section below the video. You can also put in that very same comment section a suggestion for any topics you would like me to cover. If you have a Twitter account, you can tweet my URLs to the individual videos or to the whole channel, to your followers. You can invite them to retweet. And finally, you can subscribe. If you subscribe, then you will be alerted the instant I post a new video, which I hope will be soon. And until that time, bye.